Welcome, this is the second episode in this series taking a look at the Dragon Quest VII Reimagined demo. If you would like to see the first episode, I will put the link in the description. I strongly recommend taking a look at that as I discuss some topics that I think are quite important when it comes to discussing this game. So I'm so terribly pleased with what I see. This is the approach that I would like to see when it comes to games being remastered. Oh man, I just thought about this. Could you imagine a Final Fantasy IV remade in this manner? That would be incredible. That would be so fantastic. I don't think this game has a real-time time of day system. I'm not sure about that. So I don't know about that, but I do know that the shadows are being cast in real time. We see the trees are swaying in the wind and the shadows are moving accordingly, so these are not baked. We do have things like ambient occlusion on the environment. See where the geometry sort of occludes into itself for the rocks in the cliff wall there. Let's take a look at, let's see here. Oh, but there doesn't seem to be ambient occlusion. Say for example just here, ambient occlusion allows us to add a darkening where one piece of geometry occludes into another one. I wonder what their implementation is, because I don't, normally if there was active, like highly active, you would see some darkening right here. So I don't know if that sort of ambient occlusion is baked into the environment itself. Maybe they're doing that for performance reasons, but this is interesting. So I'm not seeing very obvious uses of it. If there were, as the character got closer to this wall, you would see a darkening on that wall. So this is interesting to me. Perhaps they are not using real-time ambient occlusion. Also, you would see darkening of the feet as they get close to the ground. So this does not have that. Very fascinating, very interesting to me. I see something sparkly. I've been distracted, and now I must investigate this spot. Give me what lies on the ground. 1 gold coin, I shall take it. I shall spend it on candy. Talk to a cat. Hello, what's all this then? Hello, Governor. What's all this? Where shall I go? There is an exclamation mark on my minimap. I shall. Oh, I'm going to see my father. I'll talk to my father. Hello, father. Okay. I'm going to speed through this. You guys are, I think many of you are Dragon Quest fans, and you probably already know all of the dialogue here anyway, and... Hello, father. Hello. Ooh, I like that. The sandwich actually got handed off. I do really like that. Nice. Ooh, you know, the shadow resolution is actually quite good. It's actually higher than I was expecting. Oh, great use of real-time shadows there. Ooh, you can see the shadow of the anchor in the water. Quite lovely. I was just walking through Sydney Harbor the other day. Went for a hike around Sydney Harbor. A few kilometers around the bend. It's so lovely to spend time outside, breathing in the fresh air, listening to the waves lap up against the rocks, and the water in Sydney Harbor is so clean. It's emerald colored. Fantastic. That's a really, I'm so impressed. I love these small details, you know, say for example, you see this fishing equipment and this oceanside items. I love the use of specularity on the glass. See that glass ball there? It's surrounded by a rope net, and you can see the specularity of that glass orb as the light catches it. Normally, when games try to go for a pseudo-anime style, pseudo-cartoony style, it does not mesh well. Over the past 3 years, I've seen games become more coherent and more adept at making use of specularity and some use of physically based rendering. This may be the best and most coherent use of blending that kind of realistic specularity with the hand-drawn style artwork. The specularity on it just looks fantastic. I would like for the camera to be able to get closer. I'm pushing buttons like a madman. I would like to be able to zoom in, but I cannot. Let's go in here. What's all this then? Hello, lovey. Give us a kiss, love. Hello, hello. Okay. Can you give me stuff, please? I just want stuff. I always really like seeing small details like food in boxes and kitchens. Whoa, what a fascinating detail. Look at the corner here, how the tile work outside, sort of there's brickwork outside that extends out to the corner, and it visually tells us that this environment continues off into the distance in some way. I really like seeing that. It also gives it a diorama feeling, but still a diorama, but in a environment that actually exists. I feel that the Legend of Zelda remake, which I discussed in the first episode looking at this game, I feel like they did not do that in a coherent way. It was a clashing of ideas and a clashing of visual communication. This does, I think, what Link's Awakening was trying to do significantly better. Well, hold on a second. I cannot let you live. I cannot let you exist in this world. You will die. Cease to exist. You pot. How dare you? Okay, yeah, I just need to destroy those pots and those barrels. I can't let a single one escape. Not while I still draw breath. You shall be destroyed. Ooh, a treasure chest. Take that. I really, really like the detail. See the grass on the corner, and it feels like these are load-bearing columns here. It makes it feel like it doesn't exist in a void space. It makes it feel like it still exists in this world in context, and that we are just occluding out. We're just currently not paying attention to the rest of the world. That is such delightful visual artistic direction. That takes an understanding of what you are trying to say and how you're trying to say it. It's visual flair. It shows cohesion and a strong understanding of visual storytelling. Tantissimo. And that's not even something I say. I said it once by accident when I was talking about Legend of Mana the other day. I don't know why I said it. I've never said Fantissimo before. It's not a word that I've ever said out loud. But this is Fantissimo. Show me your pots, and I will show you hatred and loss and pain. Show me your pots, and I will show you pain. You got any mint leaves or whatever? Give me your gold. I took that old couple's gold coins. I like seeing characters up close. I want to see their faces as they're, giving me their lines of dialogue. I want to feel connected to the characters. I really like when cameras started zooming in close. One of the first times I really, really noticed it was with Final Fantasy III Remake on the Nintendo DS. I really liked the camera zooming in close to look at characters. Be gone from this world, you vicious, miserable pot. No more shall you exist. No more shall you taunt me with your miserable visage. Die. I'll get rid of every pot in this town. I'll do it. I really like how the entryway, it also shows us the way to exit as well, because if we go like this, it can be a little unclear. It's not entirely obvious where we go to exit, and this little bit here shows us that this is connected to the outer world. Fantissimo. This is visual cohesion. This is storytelling. This is competence from artists, and it is so disheartening, especially when it comes to Final Fantasy. For some reason, it seems like the only game that Square Enix let developers spend the time and the budget, really, when it comes to the new stuff, is that the Final Fantasy remake games have technical competence in the way that they are built. They are built very well. But when it comes to like the Pixel remasters or the Final Fantasy VIII and IX remasters, there's a painful, miserable lack of competent visual communication. and competent visual storytelling. And Dragon Quest is the exact opposite of Final Fantasy, where it feels like they're using the best artists they possibly can, not just in terms of technically creating the graphical assets, but of directing the art and implementing the graphical assets in a way that this is making optimum use of the technology that is available to us. I don't know where to go now. Oh, I see a red arrow. I shall talk to my father again. Hello, father. Oh no, not my father, someone else. There's another red. Do I go in here now? I go into the ship. I shall take this. Oh, it's the lady. I know her. I recognize her from Dragon Quest VII on the 3DS. I have bloodlust for barrels. I shall destroy them all. Okay. Shh, get lost, will ya? You're going to blow my cover. Oh, she's a stowaway, isn't it? You know, I don't want to... You guys are going to explore this dialogue yourself. I'll just breeze through it. Yeah. Okay. Please let me explore some more. I want to get to the overworld. One complaint that I have heard from people, because I've been asking people about Dragon Quest, people say that the introduction to Dragon Quest VII is very, very long. So I think you have to be prepared for that. But this is so delightful. Everything about this is so pleasant to experience. The music, the soft attack on the heads-up display sound, the sound effects, the expression of tonal contrast when it comes to the contrast of tones, it's very well understood. See how my shadow on the character here is quite soft, the shadow on the other characters are quite soft, but then you also still have this dark, intense shadow underneath the bed. This isn't something that a game engine just you push a button and the game engine automatically does it. These are decisions that you make as the project director, whoever's in charge of leading the visual aesthetic and technical implementation. You see the shadows get darker under the table, so the scene doesn't look flat. Now, an incompetent visual director when it comes to the art would not understand something like that. They would make the shadows beneath the character would be dark. They would probably make, you know, the candle cast intense dark shadows. Now, they're avoiding wasting processing power by using things like, oh, ray tracing and this and that. No, this is a lot of manual work. It's a lot of intelligent, informed, educated decisions when it comes to visual communication. And we still are able to make these scenes feel rich and deep by having dark shadows under the bed, soft shadows underneath the characters. And we have these light sources. Oh yes, the character is being illuminated. Real-time light sources, but the candles flicker. You see the flickering of the light there. So it makes the environment feel alive in some way, because if we don't have that, the scene will look quite flat. Because the characters are so far away from the viewing perspective, you don't see them, their idle animation all that well. And so they do actually look quite static, but it's just small details like the flickering of the candle help these characters, help the environment feel more alive. I'll not let you escape this world! Face my righteous justice, you pot. I have to destroy the pots, I'm sorry. A personal wish list here. This is not a complaint. This is not me nitpicking. I just want to pick up a bunch of stuff from the environment. You know, I want to go here. Like, you got a yam. You got a potato. You got a pack of flour. You got vinegar bottle. You got cabbage. You got corn. You got sardine. So these are the kinds of things that I consider when I design my games, when I'm conceptualizing my games, when I am building my own games. For me, drawing inspiration from other games does not mean copying things. There's a false preconception, well, there's a misconception that's very widespread in that inspiration means to copy something. Inspiration does not mean to copy something. That is something else entirely. For me, drawing inspiration is the feeling that you get from something. The feeling, if I get a feeling from a game that I really enjoy, I think, how can I also share this kind of feeling? A feeling of adventure, a feeling of mystery, a feeling of exploration, you know? And for me, the inspiration that I draw from other games is, say, for example, how I was just in that environment. And for me, I was thinking, oh, it would be so great if I just got stuff, you know? And then to build upon that, for the game to reward you and to give you a reason to pick up a bunch of little stuff everywhere, and to make that all a cohesive experience, add synergy to where, oh, now you are being, oh, check out the ripples on the back of that boat as it departed. I was just in Sydney yesterday, going for a nice walk through Sydney Harbor, and I take the ferry, took it to Tauranga Zoo, watching the wake left behind you as you float across the water. The music is, this is 100% delightful, 100%, 100% this, I never say this, I'm picking this up launch day, and I'm saying it now because that's how I feel. The reason why I don't say those things is because I don't want to influence people. I don't want to make people feel like they have to buy something. I know that when there's a magical man on your screen, ooh, I'm a magical man on your screen saying big, fancy word, it's subconsciously you do get influenced when it comes to, you know, if this guy says, buy Lucky Strike cigarettes. Lucky Strike cigarettes, they'll make you feel real nice. They'll make you popular with the ladies. It's good for your health. You know, that's like my 1950s ad read. And the reason why I generally avoid saying things like, I want to buy this, because it's not fair to you guys. It's to make you feel like you should buy things. I really dislike that. In the past, I've had a career in marketing and advertising and public relations and all that, and it was very much telling people to buy things. And I found I really dislike that. I dislike telling people to buy things. So I'm saying now that I'm buying this, I'm picking this up launch day, because I adore this. I have 150% respect for what the developers have achieved here. I adore this very much. I absolutely respect what they have achieved. This is the absolute best technical implementation of this particular art style. This is taking the hand-drawn art of the 8 and 16-bit era and elevating it. This is evolving and progressing I would say this is the neo hand-drawn art visual aesthetic, because it is not an anime art style, it is not a cartoon art style, this is neo hand-drawn. I'll think of a better term for it, but that's what it is. It is taking the hand-drawn art of the golden age, well, the bronze and golden age of the gaming development industry, and evolving it to its next step. You know, this environment, it's not physically based rendering in terms of being hyper-realistic, but it is making use of modern technology in terms of normal mapping, depth of field, ambient occlusion. I'm at a loss for words. The only thing I have to say is Fantissimo. I'm picking this up launch day, and I'm not saying that recklessly because I don't want to make you feel like you have to buy things, right? I don't want to make you feel bad if you're on a tight budget and you can't pick this game up. And that's very much part of the reason why I don't do ad reads as well. I think it's, some people make a living through YouTube. I'm just here to hang out with you guys, to share my projects with you, because I love making games. It's one of the things that I'm absolutely the most passionate about. I want to share my projects with you. I want to share the excitement of these games with you. This game is what I want. This game is what I wish Final Fantasy could be, and it probably never will be. But you know what? I'm fine breaking up with Final Fantasy, and if I never buy a Final Fantasy game again, that's totally fine, because baby, I've got Dragon Quest, and I'm a Dragon Quest man now. Ooh, but she's not in my party yet, is she? I'm going to check the side of the screen here. I'm going to have to move myself out of the way. One moment here. If I just... Okay, no. What if I go in... How do I... My character popped... Okay, no. She's not in my party. Right. Okay, this is... I'm getting so lost in this in the best way possible. Something that I don't particularly like is seeing the outlines of characters. For me, that's immersion breaking, and I understand why developers do it. It's so that players know exactly where their characters are. So the developers here have prioritized readability and value of visuals. I will start uploading instructional lessons to this channel to help people when it comes to art and game development. And this is something here, the value of visuals here and readability. And this is about readability, so the player always knows where they are. Something like this is extremely important if the player does not have control over the camera. But the player has full control over the camera. So in that situation, I feel like it is not vital for there to be that kind of outline. Or not outline, but, you know, seeing the character's the silhouette. I gotta pick up shiny things, man. I gotta pick up shiny things. Oh, what a delightful bokeh filter for the highlights on the water. This is fantastic, 100%. This is the best aesthetic. It's the absolute best evolution of the visual aesthetic of the hand-drawn art from the golden era of game development. I'm putting that on the record. I have not seen a better aesthetic or a better technical implementation. This is where we should be at. This is what we should strive for. So if I were to give a grade, I am giving grades now. If I were to give a grade for this when it comes to intent, visual expression, use of technology, artistic intent, technical implementation, technical understanding, I'm giving this an A++. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined gets an A++ from me. If we take a look at things like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, I'm giving that an F-. Yes. I'll put a little editing on screen here. So the Final Fantasy Pixel remaster, F-. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, A++. What else? The Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, their latest, I'm going to call them demasters, that Square has done. And again, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, right? But I take this stuff very seriously because I'm not just a gamer anymore. I work in the games industry, and it's important for me to become the best game developer that I can become, to become the best artist, the best technical engineer when it comes to implementing solutions for game development. And you cannot praise incompetence. I keep pressing the B button and that keeps coming up. You cannot praise incompetence. And so all of the remasters, Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, the remasters, F-, on all of them. Dragon Quest here, A++. The HD 2D remasters, I have seen them. I have not played them for myself, but Dragon Quest III HD 2D remaster and the 1 and 2, something about 1 and 2 feels a bit more coherent, even though they're very consistent. I'd give those an A-. There are things about it that I think choosing to go with sprites is the wrong thing, because this is basically the same thing as the HD 2D remaster, the HD 2D remasters, except instead of the flat quads for the characters, we have 3D models, and this shows that you can have so much more expressiveness and so much more cohesion. What I dislike about the HD 2D remasters is that the characters are flat, and they don't respond to the lighting of the world that is quite immersive, when everything else in the HD 2D remasters is actually 3D. Those games should be called 3D remasters because they are 3D. Even though the sprites are flat for the characters, it exists in a 3D space. It's making use of 3D visual techniques, post-processing techniques. That is a big dog. Boy, howdy, that's a big dog. Oh, look at the scale of this handsome boy. And there's pots. You will die. I'm having so much fun. This is very delightful to me. I like this very much. Oh, wow. This is fantastic. Wow, 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 wow. Look at the intensity of the shadows of the trees. The shadows of the trees are more intense than, say, for example, the shadows here under the character. Now, the reason why this visually looks right, and the reason being is it's more complicated than you think it is. Our shadows, when we are just a person, weird statement, we are all just people, aren't we? Well, some of us are less human than others. Is because the reason why this shadow on the human character should be less intense is because in the real world we have light reflecting up off the ground, and that actually reduces the intensity of the shadow. Environments from around us actually weaken that shadow. It makes that shadow less intense, and as would be the case here. The shadows here would be less intense, but for some reason, the shadows are so contrasty and deep and dark here. And the reason being is because in the real world, this environment is occluded by the other things, so there's less light bouncing off of the environment that would make those shadows less intense. And because there's less light bouncing off of the environments, off the ground, there's less ambient lighting reflecting, it would be darker. Now, I don't know how they've implemented it here, but that is something that you have to do manually in an environment like this. That's not something that just happens automatically. And the fact that that's more intense makes the scene visually pop. Look at the lightest points. Let's go ahead and identify the lightest points in the scene. The lightest points are the walls here that are catching the light. You have the roof that's able to catch light directly. And the shadows on the characters and the shadows on the building, they're not as intense, but you have, all of a sudden, in the back of the scene, you have this harsh, deep, contrasty shadows. Oh, yeah, and it looks so good. And I think part of the reason is because the shadows are falling on the bushes there. And so the bushes are catching those shadows, and it just happens to look intense. So whether or not they intended to do that, whether or not they thought, oh, it should be darker in there, perhaps they didn't really think about it from the perspective of which I explained, but the artists who built this scene understand that. They understand it on some level, and so they've built this, they put the geometry in there so that it visually communicates and it feels that way. Have a look at even this bush here catching the shadows underneath the tree. Look how contrasty and punchy that is. And so we have great tonal range, great tonal dynamic. You have something dark and contrasty there. You have these nice bright scenes, but it's not overblown. Oh, man. Oh, Fantissimo. This is why Dragon Quest VII Reimagined gets an A++, baby. There aren't any more pluses to give. This is an A++. This is so delightful. I'm so pleased right now. You have no idea. I'm having such a difficult time explaining to you how pleased I am right now. This is so delightful. I cannot express to you how deeply inspired, how deeply pleased I am to see artists working in the industry who have this level of understanding, of comprehension, of tonal values, of color dynamic. And the reason why I'm so pleased right now is because I am not seeing this from the teams that are working on Final Fantasy when it comes to the remasters, especially the pixel remasters. This is so delightful. I have not seen anything from Final Fantasy in the past 15, 20 years that even comes close to this level of artistic understanding, of comprehension, of technical implementation. Die, Jerrel, die! I'm going in the hole. Let me go in there. I want to go in there and get a sword. Can you not well block me? Oh my god. This old wench be well blocking. Get out of my way, wench. I might put a pin in it here. I'm going to say this is it for the second episode. Oh, man! This is it! This is where gaming should be. This is what we need to strive for, baby. We have reached it. I am amplified to the max. This is where the industry should be. This... Fantissimo is all I have to say. A++, baby. A++, Fantissimo. A++ for Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy F-. But I'm not saying that the remake and rebirth for Final Fantasy VII are bad. Technical implementation, excellent. Absolutely brilliant on those games. Oh boy, this is fantastic. I know what people are going to say. I know, because I'm a big fan of Team America. I know that people are going to look at this guy and go, Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Get your giggles out. You know what? Even games that I really, really, really deeply enjoy, I make fun of, because that's part of how we enjoy games. We have jokes, we can make fun of it, but it's all lighthearted. It's just a way for us to further enjoy the game, to further enjoy media and culture. The fact that we can all go, Matt Damon, and know exactly what I'm talking about, we can see the correlation. We're not being mean-spirited about this. We're just having a laugh and enjoying the fact that we all connect in some way on a human level, and we can share something. I think that's deeply beautiful. It really is special that we can share something like that. Matt Damon. Oh man, look at the texture work on his clothes. This is so delightful. So from my understanding, the developers built actual toy models, actual figurines. I think they based these characters on those. I need to have a closer look at the characters. Oh, I would really like to zoom in. I'm pushing up and down on the analog stick, and I would really like to be able to have a closer look, because I want to appreciate the work that the artists have done here. The texture work on the characters were so fantastic, and it's not just because, ooh, high resolution, ooh, look at the physically based rendering, ooh, look at the... No, that has nothing to do with it. It's the developers understand how to make the clothes look expressive by having high resolution textures and tiling the material in a way to where when the light catches it, it looks like there's fibers catching the light, but not in a way that breaks the aesthetic. This aesthetic, again, I think the best word that I can call is neoclassical for this artwork, because classical games, believe it or not, it's the games industry is old enough now to where there is a classical era for gamings, and Dragon Quest comes from the classical, and this is what I would call neoclassical, and I think that's the best term for it. I'm so pleased and delighted. Now this is fascinating. When we were looking at the houses in the village, the walls would turn, they would fade out, but the walls do not fade out here. Interesting. I'm sure there's a technical reason for it. There's not just an aesthetic, there's a technical reason, but also it's good to have the silhouette there, which means that because of the silhouette, due to the technical implementation of this game, the silhouette makes the camera so that it is not beholden to the rest of the game. Otherwise, you would need to move the camera, you would need to frame the camera in a way such that the character would need to be visible so that the player understands where the character is. Having the silhouette allows that to be. It allows the camera to not be beholden to the rest of the game. I can respect that. I don't personally like the silhouette. I respect their decision to have it there. I think it's fine. I would personally prefer not to have it because it is immersion breaking for me, but that's totally fine. I like just having a little bit of reflectiveness. It makes the world feel so alive, having the metal catch the light like that. This is specularity, but it's not necessarily, it may be, but it's not necessarily physically based. Physically based makes things look so realistic, and I have seen games that attempt this neoclassical aesthetic, but because they use physically based, it sticks out and it breaks the aesthetic. It clashes tonally. This is so delightful. I'm so delighted. Yeah, I'm uploading both of these episodes today. I'm so delighted. You know what? Yes, A++. Thank you for spending some time with me today. I need to get back to work. I'm finishing my game, Hero of Destiny. Was killed by the final boss. I'm doing my final testing, and I'm submitting that this week. I'm submitting that to the big N in the sky. This will be Hero of Destiny will launch on Steam, and we're not here to talk about my game. We're here to talk about Dragon. I'll talk about my game another day. Take care, everyone. I'll see you around. Please look forward. I think I may make another episode on this. This is so delightful. I'm a Dragon Quest now. I'm a Dragon Quest man, baby. This is where I'm at. Woo! I'll see you around.